All right, so that is the time, 5 o'clock. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure I have everything set up. Desktop stream, looks like that works. All right, so I'm gonna try my best to keep an eye on chat. Sometimes I'm pretty bad at that, but I want this to kind of be a, more of like a back and forth kind of thing. Oh, let me make sure to mute myself so I don't. There we go. All right. So yes, I haven't streamed to YouTube in a while, so go ahead and get started here pretty soon. I'll try to keep an eye on chat, but when I'm modeling and stuff, there's a lot of different windows and whatnot I have open. I'm gonna maybe make this slow mode a little less long. I should be able to do that. Boom. Customization. There we go. Save. Alright, so slow mode should be turned off now. Okay. Yeah, well, Sell It on Wolf says he's never talked directly to a YouTuber, so they don't know how to respond. And I could say I've not really talked directly to stream, so I don't really know what to talk about too much either. But we're gonna sort of chill. We're gonna make a model, and we're all gonna have some fun here. So I'll just make sure to ping my general chat, and we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, so yeah, we're about to, open the gates, show how the sausage is made, how quality UNU vehicles go from an idea to a reality. I hope you like this background. It's an atomic test from the 50s. Alright, so the mods I make for Minecraft are the UNU vehicle mods. So I make 3D models of vehicles that are then loaded into Minecraft Transport Simulator. Alright, so this is my modeling folder. Inside the secrets, and every UNU vehicle starts out as something else. And then I've also got a bunch of other pictures here in this other tab for reference photos. One thing that's always handy, of course everything starts on Google Images, is finding something like this where someone has a bunch of pictures of different vans just because they're into it, or finding listings of cars that are being sold because you can get a lot of really nice pictures from that. All right, so we'll go ahead and open up this. I'm going to go ahead and open up the parts folder as well because we're probably going to need that. I'll try to keep the chat won't stay popped out, which is kind of annoying. All right. Yeah, it's definitely a very Fallout style background for sure. Alright, so this is all the various UNU vehicle models I made, and this is the various parts. So, this van is a pretty small, sort of compact, British style van. This is, of course, the UNU, or sorry, not the UNU. So let's go over here to sponsor vehicle. And so this is the FSM Delivery, sponsored by White Falcon. And yeah, so that's what this is going to be based off. Very European, British type deal, compact, and I've got a bunch of popped out chats here. And yeah, well, hey, Laura, you're actually just in time because I'm about to get started. So this is the FSM Delivery. It's the Free State Motor Group. and they are the resistance to the evil Blackthorn and Unu. And so every Unu vehicle starts out as another. So let me try to find the ferret here. Ooh. I just realized every single Unu vehicle has like this ID. I don't know if I'm going to do that for free state stuff. FSM Delivery. I guess I should probably make a folder. Oh yeah, here, I'm gonna actually put this in the right thing. This is the Civil Pack folder. What am I doing? This is supposed to be in the UNUverse pack. CSA. Oh, I don't even have a folder for FSM yet. The FSM, Free State Motors. The FSM Delivery. And I'll go ahead and get rid of this. Excuse me. And then we can go ahead and we don't need this. Oh, actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then, of course, we don't need any of these textures or the GIMP files or the colors. And then I'll actually just get rid of everything except for the main van skin. Fix this to a lowercase c and clear it out. All right, so we are ready to go ahead and get started. A motorhome is something that is... I have a lot of things that are quote-unquote planned. It's just a matter of when I get to them. That's why the UNU sponsorship program is so great. It says I basically have this whole list of vehicles that... These are all the vehicles I plan on making. And, you know, I make them one at a time, but if someone decides to sponsor a vehicle, then that gets made immediately. So that down here, you know, we've got sponsorships in progress, and that's going to be... So that's why I'm making this one, is White Falcon sponsored the FSM Delivery. So that's what we're working on now. Looks like this vehicle doesn't have any axles, so I'm going to have to pull that out. For a while, all of my Flans mod vehicles, they just, I put all the wheels and stuff on the Flans mod vehicles, and then I ripped all the engines out of the base model when I moved it over for immersive vehicles. But now I leave all the parts on there so I can create thumbnails and stuff, and I make them part of a model part that I can delete really easily. So I have to go ahead and put all those back on. All right. So here's the van with all the parts. So yeah, parts, make all parts visible, and then I have to go around and make... So this is kind of how I copy a bunch of parts, is I'll select all these pieces here. Because yeah, this is right now set up for Flans mod, and so these are all combined with the axles and stuff, which isn't good for MTS, because with MTS, those parts have to be animated, and then these wheels and stuff aren't actually part of the model, they're separate parts. So I say parts and parts, and it means different things, but uses the same words. So in MTS, like the axles and, you know, the little hubs and stuff, those are rotatable objects, and then the wheels and stuff are parts. But I have to separate them into different model parts in order to animate them properly. Alright, so that's easy. Right there. And then finally, the seats. Yeah, the delay on when I'm streaming to YouTube is a lot more than when I'm doing Twitch. So, but I like YouTube because it automatically saves it as like a backlog. And then also like turning off the borders of invisible parts so I can more easily see what I've disappeared. Alright, and Chase asks if it would be possible to add crafting tables, furnaces, beds into mobile homes. Yes, that actually is possible. Currently, the Trin vehicle pack does that. And I plan on doing that when I add motorhomes, for sure. Alright, so these are all the parts that normally are separate items that are installed on Flans mod. I mean, in MTS. So what I do is I select all the visible parts, and then I make them drill head, like I did with the engine, And that way I could just select all parts, and I can easily delete them if I need to. I like to have them there because it makes it easier to model the vehicle around. And then I'm also going to need all the axles and stuff because I removed those because I remodeled. I did an update on this or something, but I didn't need to redo the axles, so I deleted them. It's like a shortcut. So I'm going to need to undelete them so that I have an actual base to start off of. And then Mr. Weirdness asks, how long does it take to usually finish a vehicle, and is it hard? That very much depends. So I have been making vehicles for. I started with Flans mod, and then now I do it for immersive vehicles. It takes me, depending on the vehicle, I might get this done, at least the model done today, like in this sitting. It depends on how motivated and in the mood and stuff I am. Call it artistic whim, but I could usually crank out a vehicle in a day. Jason and everything, if I'm really into it, I could do it in usually a couple days. It's pretty quick 'cause I'm super familiar with MTS and everything. All right, so now, I have to recenter everything. So make sure all the parts are visible, and then make these ones disappear. Edit, select all visible parts, 0, 0, perfect. Now make sure nothing's overlapping. So you got the engine in there. Just want to make sure I don't have parts that I imported that are already here. Very cool. Parts, make all parts visible. And, well, I guess there's no point in saving that. Go ahead and save this because, well, actually, no, I don't want to save it. All right. Cool. And then Laura asks, what about the spare wheel? Yes, I'm going to make sure to take care of that as well. Make that a drill head. Because drill head is what I use for all of the parts that are taken off. So again, if I select all the parts, these are everything that's going to be added on with the mod internally. Cool. And yeah, a convertible rabbit coupe. That actually is something that has been suggested before as a sort of military thing. I probably will add something like that at some point. I can't say when. I really like the convertible models. It's really one of the places where UNU shines. Okay, so now I have all of these collision boxes, which I typically put under trailer. Don't need those because I'm going to remodel the vehicle. And yeah, doing pretty good. All right, so we have our base. So this is obviously not going to be the FSM Delivery. This is the UNU Ferret, very quality vehicle. It's got the engine in the back and all that. So I'll go ahead and bring up this is what I have in my other screen. I've got two screens, and so my other screen you won't be able to see. But I've just got a bunch of pictures pulled up. This is the van we'll be modeling. Something pretty close to this. So, because when you sponsor a vehicle, you can I obviously have the final say in what gets made, but I'm, open to suggestion and stuff. And so Falcon said that he prefers this grill design over this more flat one. And honestly, I kind of agree. Personally, I think this looks better, but I think this is more British. So I definitely want with the Free State Motors, I want them to be just completely just stereotypical British. You look at that and it's got crooked teeth. The vehicles that I want to make for the FSM pack just have to be completely just over the top British. Whereas this, it's still very British, but that grill kind of looks like, oh, that could probably fit in America. Whereas this, you're like, oh, okay, they're about to, take my diamonds. So this is what I'm going to be going for. And it's a very typical van design in terms of the mechanics. One thing that is super handy, and I'll tell this to Laura because she's a fellow content creator, lubrication charts. Lubrication charts are great for seeing how the chassis is, where the engine is located, where, the steering wheel and all that sort of the mechanics. Most old vehicles, they've got a solid lubrication chart because you had to lubricate this stuff. For example, you had to lubricate everything at least every 18,000 miles. totally different from cars today where you can go 100,000 miles without chassis lubrication. Most people don't even, most people don't even know what that is. So lubrication charts, great for kind of getting the overall layout of the vehicle. And so as we see with this van, it's very similar to the Ferret. It's going to be a compact van. I'm going to, change the curves and stuff because it's got this, belt line and everything. And of course, the wheels are tucked in and all that. It's a very unique vehicle. But the drivetrain is super conventional. It's going to be very similar to the UNU Tradesman, of course, with a 4-cylinder instead of a 6. So that is kind of where I'm going to start. I'm going to move the engine to the front, and you'll kind of see how I turn one UNU vehicle into another, which is pretty neat. Any plan to make correct hand drive version for the European markets as well? Yes, I do plan on doing right-hand drive variants of a lot of UNU vehicles down the line. That's not a priority. I'd rather make new vehicles, but every once in a while I get bored and decide to implement a new feature. Like, for example, I'm implementing a feature so when your car overheats, it'll spray radiator steam out, and I added that to a bunch of vehicles basically because I was bored. So the first step of making this a free state motors vehicle, why does it keep, is of course putting the steering wheel on the wrong side of the car. So we go ahead and select all this, make sure to get the steering box down here, and put a negative right there. Boom, bam, boom. Welcome to the British Isles. We hope you brought your raincoat because the weather down here is terrible. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course we've got to reverse all this as well. No, oh, there is a slight angle, but it's up and down. Cool. Look at that. We have Britishified this vehicle. And so the way I do the, on some of the larger vehicles like the bus or the Solenodon, that kind of stuff, I'll animate this. But with the compact vehicles, they don't have super complex running gear. So they don't have like a fully animated steering linkage like some of the other vehicles do. You got to upgrade to a Mariner or something if you want that. So I'm going to go ahead and move this spare tire out of the way because this is where the engine's going to go. Alright, I'll also get rid of this green stuff here. This is an extra layer for signage and stuff. So this has a HD texture to put like, roses, flowers, or whatever the heck. Boom, 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 boom. And so I'm going to go ahead and just delete this because I'll remake it once we got an actual vehicle going. Alright, let's see what else we've got. Britishified. Yep, you gotta Britishify it. Alright. So, let's go ahead and take a look here. So this is a single windshield vehicle, so it does not have a split windshield. So that's probably going to change the roof structure because the roof is really based on, this is split in half for that split windshield. So that's going to have to go. Show borders of invisible parts. Get rid of that. Get rid of this center seat because that's where the engine goes. All right. Now let's go ahead and parts, make all parts visible, make that invisible, and now I got to make the engine invisible because I got to turn it around and move it. So select all the parts. I'm really happy with the newer engines that I made. The original UNU engines, they had their charm, but they were really lame in terms of like the model complexity. I really like these Gen 2 UNU engines that I think I made them for version 4, maybe version 3. Back when I ditched the air-cooled engines. I might upgrade my engines again, maybe make a more detailed carburetor, but we'll see. Alright, so now that I have the engine selected, I can edit, select all visible parts. Oh no, sorry, select all these parts invert them, and now I have just the engine visible. So I could select all visible parts. Now I've got the engine selected. So first I've got to, actually I'm just going to delete the engine because if I rotate it 180 degrees, the rotations get messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab over here, and then I'm going to open up my modeling folder, MTS multi-generator. This is a special utility that I made to be able to see how that works. Okay, and then I got all my engines. IO4 standard. This is our cute little engine. Then I'll copy this path, file, export as texture file, paste, part engine, just so I have the texture. Select all parts, make sure it's a drill head so I could delete it later on. Paste it in here. Translate the texture. So what is, I believe it's 128, but I should probably check. Yep, 128, 300. So I translate the texture, 128, 300, generates this new toolbox stuff, and I can paste it in, and it's screwed up. Why did it screw up? Oh, it's because I didn't select. Edit, select all visible parts, delete, and copy. Paste. What the heck? All right. Copy. Paste. Translate texture. There we go. Sometimes it just takes a couple tries. Alright, now I'm going to temporarily give this another model type. That way I can select all visible parts. Where are you? There we go. I'm going to give it a different type. I'm going to go ahead and temporarily give it trailer so it makes it easier to move the engine around. Make all parts visible. Alright, we're going to go ahead and drop that right there for now. Get rid of this rear transmission, the transaxle. Open up another previously made UNU product, the UNU Tradesman here. Because this is of the similar drivetrain that I want. That's the nice thing, is the more vehicles I make, the more I have a library to pull from, because now I can just come in here and grab this transmission. It also helps keep things consistent, because it's like, oh, this same transmission model, I literally copy and paste this to any of my vehicles that have a front engine. Go ahead and steal the rear axle too. And I'll probably end up stealing that battery box later, so I'm actually going to keep this model open. Alright, we'll go ahead and pop this down here for now, because it's going to have to be remapped. Alright, let's just check on chat here. Alright, just got some people joining the chat, asking what's going on with party people. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and combine these. This is 28 wide, so this is probably going to have to be pretty similar. Okay, so let's go ahead and change the brake system on this vehicle. Actually, I can just make parts invisible here. So the original UNU vehicles just had brakes in the back because this is when UNU was like, oh, it's super cheap and, high quality, but bottom budget. But now I'm making UNU a little more conventional. The UNU Rabbit and stuff still has, the Rabbit and Ferret are still going to have, super cheap wheel systems here, but this guy will have 4-wheel disc brakes. All right. So, sorry. Where was I? Oh yeah. So originally I was like, okay, it's gonna be cheap. They'll have band brakes in the rear. Ultra utility. But now Unu's a little more conventional. Uh, I'll keep that kind of stuff on the older models, like the Rabbit and the Ferret, just because it adds to the bottom line, bottom tier type deal. But with things like the newer vehicles, I'm gonna go ahead and just make them new. All right, have the four-wheel brakes and all that, just absolutely deluxe. Okay, make these a little wider. Bring them back. Select that and boom. Updated. Excellent. So now we've got the new brake drums. Let me go ahead and check on the texture position there. Make sure nothing's overlapping. And they're all right next to each other. Perfect. Cool. So then I could just go ahead and fill that in. So now we've got a more typical drum brake. We've got the exterior drum and then the backing plate back here. And I will also move this to the front. And make sure these have the same texture positions. 4459, 4459. Perfect. So I can go ahead and delete those. All right. So this also has to be core. And then these have to be with the wheel. So wheel right back for this drum. And then wheel left back for this drum. And we'll see how all of this model separation comes into play when I end up JSONing this bad boy. All right, so we'll go ahead and copy these and move them to the front. So we have front brakes. This will be, of course, the left front. And this is going to be steering wheel. This is kind of like the pivot point for that. Just a sort of a legacy compat type thing, just so it kind of looks similar. Now you're seeing how UNU quality front suspension is made. Open up this so I can move that. Oh, I always forget that part. And there we go. Excellent. Bring this around to the other side. And that is steering wheel. Good. And this guy. Right front. And what's up with all this? Everything's like off one. Interesting. Cool. So now we've got our front axle, which obviously is going to be dropped a bit, but we'll dive into that a little later. Okay, looks like the color isn't quite lined up. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and pull these axles down and put this one up in there with the transmission. As yeah, I'm a sucker for consistency, so I always want to make sure things are the same color. So I'll often pull up other models and then pull the colors off of them so that, for example, the axles, drive shafts, frames, leaf springs, everything's always the same color between the different models. What's interesting is this actually uses the older, at some point, I don't even know when, my template color changed. So it used to be this lighter color, which was the default color for the UNU vehicles for a while, back when it was just the rabbit and the ferret. And then it changed to this more purpley color. I don't even know how or when that happened. I think it was a mistake one time and then it stuck. Not that I care, just an interesting little detail there. All right. Well, see you later, Sell It On Wolf. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope to see you around on the channel sometime in the near future. Okay, so now we've got the basic drive line here. And what's interesting is, looks like the ferret actually has about the same wheelbase as the tradesman. So as you see, the front wheel on the tradesman, the rear wheels are always at 0. And so the wheelbase for the tradesman is 55, whereas for the ferret and soon to be FSM Delivery, it's 54, which I think is kind of funny. Of course, the ferret is much narrower. Alright, so now we got to sort of get all this drivetrain stuff figured out here. And the ferret is obviously, of course, much lower because the engine's in the back, so there's no drivetrain. So I'm going to have to race up the floor a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get these doors out of the way by vanishing them. Then I'm just going to go ahead and wipe out these shape boxes, bring them back to original, and lift up the floor. And that should give us enough room for everything. Although I am going to have to do a lot more fixing of the back, because back here is all set up for a rear engine, which this vehicle will no longer have. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this. See what's weird? Oh, it's because the tradesman has a straight 6, so the engine's much longer. And I'm going to put the engine more forward in this van. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, so let's go ahead and pull the radiator up. Get this out of here. Right. I'll go ahead and take these radiator mounts too, just for good measure. Bring it all the way up front. Grab the engine as well, so I can kind of get all that sorted out. You'll need a little more room. There we go. Oh, missed that little radiator hose. Move this over. Mirror this. Bring this in. What exactly? What the heck? It just deleted itself. Alright. I'll just take the lower radiator hose from this guy. And I think it was all the way down here. Alright, so we'll bring the engine forward. That way we can kind of get the whole package figured out. And one thing I did do with the tradesman van, because this engine has the whole air cleaner and everything sticking out, is I just scooched the engine over, I think one. I think that's what I did. So the engine is slightly off center, which, it doesn't really matter. It makes the doghouse easier. Okay, boom. I have to remind myself how I did everything so that it could be consistent. So this is a 12 wide. This is 12 wide as well. This one is 7 tall. 7 tall. Cool. So these are literally the same radiators. I'll just scooch this over one extra since I did that on this radiator. And then, yeah, it looks like it's got 1 pixel up. So the engines have to move down 1. Oop. This is over here. And then, how did this look? Down 1. 2. Okay, so this is a whole, like, half increment, whereas this is a full. I guess this transmission is going to be a half. Yeah. Interesting. I might as well do that. Boom. Bring this by a half. Then select the trailer. Select parts. Then bring that down a half. Like so. So now we've got our little package here. We've got the radiator and engine ready to power a car. So now we can kind of move this where it's going to go. Reset these. Oh, that got... That's half of a Model A clicking the wrong button. What? This whole thing half off too. Alright, the radiator's half off, so we'll go ahead and bring that in. Boom. Excellent. There's our radiator. Cool. So, now, got to get the doghouse and everything settled. So we'll go ahead and grab the front axle from... This is this vehicle. We'll get the front axle from... Oh, okay, the front axle from the tradesman is a solid axle. So we're going to have to do some customization here. Let me go ahead and flatten out the back now that we got the engine out. And I will also go ahead and delete this, since I will put a more normal gas tank in. And I will delete this. Well, no. I'll just move this down like I did with the... Don't need those. Won't need that. But I will keep this just for now. We'll set this muffler over here for later. Alright, the voltage regulator and the heater core will also save for later. Put those in once we get everything sorted out. I will delete this little wall here. Delete this. And then we'll move this. Oh, the little battery hiding under here. We'll go ahead and set this guy aside. Hopefully MTS adds battery stuff, battery parts in the future. Okay, what's going on now? This I can get rid of. Then I'll lengthen this. Boom. I'll have to remap that texture, of course. We'll shorten this up and move it down. Excellent. So now we got our nice flat floor area. I'll have to widen these a bit. All of this is going to have to be remapped, so I'll actually just make this all one piece. Because sometimes when I make a vehicle out of another vehicle, I'll reuse a bunch of parts and kind of, like for example, how I flatten this floor. I have these here, just because it makes texturing easier. But I probably will actually end up removing that and I'll just make this one big floor piece. Don't need these two little strips here just to save a little bit of texturing. Yeah, what's up with this? So this floor section in the front here is off by half a pixel. That's a little weird. So I'll have to fix that. I'll have to redo this a little bit because it needs a doghouse and everything anyway. Go ahead and make those invisible. Move this up. Okay. Bring these wheel wells up a bit to sort of match the back. Yep. Excellent. And then this will be the beginning of our little doghouse area. And I'm going to make this floor flat too, so I'm going to raise it up a bit. Yeah, the rabbit and ferret have some interesting quirks because they're the first models I made for UNU specifically. And so there's all this like weird half pixel stuff that I would never do anymore. I like to keep things, for the most part, at full pixels, at least major things like the floor. Like, for example, these floors stick out into the wall 1 pixel because I narrowed the car 1 pixel on each side, but I didn't change the floor because I didn't want to retexture it. And so all these floor pieces stick into the vehicle wall a bit. Interesting stuff like that happens when you update models and whatnot. So I'll actually bring all this in and retexture it. And then we're going to have to go ahead and delete this stuff. Because this is, well, yeah, because this is all stuff for the engine bay. So I'll have to get rid of that. Which doesn't matter because I'm redoing the whole back anyway. And then I also have to get rid of these very cool side vents. I really like these side vents on the rabbit and ferret. All right. Now we're starting to get into the stage where it really starts looking ugly because I'm tearing things apart. But hey, that's part of the fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and scoot these chairs over as much as we can. Oh, forgot a couple pieces. And see, this has got like, oh, that's because of the back of the chair. All right, so now we've got this. Now I'm actually gonna leave this steering wheel a little offset. Um, that is something that was actually done in forward control vehicles like this at times because it gives you more room around the door. Although I brought the seat over 2 pixels, so I actually will probably bring this over 1, but it will be still a little offset because it makes it easier. It gives more space, and also the steering column won't completely smash into the frame. I can shorten this up 1. Cool, cool. Then I'll bring the brake and all this over as well. Put that back on the floor where it belongs. Getting a little cramped over here, but hey, that's just fine. Excellent. Now this is starting to come to shape. So we have this over at 10. So I'll scoot the other chair out as well. We'll make everything in the drill head visible. Oh, I made them invisible. Cool. Oh, I need to bring this chair up. Excellent. So now we got all that stuff going on. Go ahead and mirror this for now. I'll probably end up changing it more because that looks a little narrow. Okay, so let's go ahead and select our engine and see if we can get that position. This radiator is looking a little wide, so I'm actually going to narrow this up a bit. Which will be fine because this engine is a lot smaller than the same radiators in the other van. And this uses a straight 6 instead of this uses a straight 4 instead of a straight 6. So this thinner radiator will be fine, especially in the very, balmy environment of the British Isles. And besides, this radiator's in the front, so it doesn't matter that it's a little smaller than the Rabbit. Alright, I'm probably going to have to... Hopefully I won't have to retexture position these guys. Cool, cool. Pow is a fan of lasagna in the chat. Lasagna's pretty solid. Garfield would agree. Okay. Scooch this stuff in. So now we got a very cute little radiator. Let's look at that. Bring this in as well. That should be fine. Let's clip it a little bit. There we go. Cool, there's our power plant. The absolute unit. And select parts. See if we can kind of position this radiator and engine. Very tiny radiator. Very tall. Okay, oh, missed a bit. Alright, so let's look out at it from up above. Oh, that actually isn't looking too bad. So now is when we start looking at the reference photos. So I got this guy here. Looks like the radiator is just in front of the seat. Very narrow. Yeah, I think that is pretty darn good. So I'm gonna oof, it's low already. Let's see. What does it look like in here? negative. Oh, that's really high. Okay. I can't make it much higher because of where the seats are. So I think that will do the trick. So I'll go ahead and move this transmission to match up. Boom. Very low. But hey, that's just gonna have to work. Look at that. A straight drive shaft just directly into the back. That's pretty neat. Don't do that too often. But yeah, this should work. Very low profile. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. That should work. We can always change it later. Okay. So you got the seats all the way crammed up against the sides. Let's see what we're looking at with seat positions here. Delete. Oh, I accidentally deleted the driver. Okay. So we got this guy. So this is 54, 10, and 10. Oh, but I have to remember to adjust it between flans mod and MTS. And it looks like his head might poke out a bit. Let's see what we look like with this. Not even. Alright, let's see if I actually position the seat right. 57. 8, 10, 13. Yeah, this is a much taller van. And the seat is much. What's the seat height? 10, 10, yeah, same. What the seat's height? Oh, it says it's. Yeah, 3 pixels wider. Well, I can't do that with this thing. What to do, what to do. So I can make it a little, I can make the van a little taller. I can make this taller. That is what I'll do. Okay. What's one of the windshield wipers look like on this thing? Oh, they're up above. How stylish. Alright, now's where I actually start making the van look like the van. Let's find a good exterior picture. It's so British looking. Hilarious. Alright. We'll go with that. It's got a nice domed top, so I think I'll sort of play into that to give it more headroom. Excellent. Alright, let's go ahead and just to make my life a little easier, I'm actually just going to completely wipe out the entire side of this vehicle starting from the back. Because it doesn't have nearly the same stuff going on. And then I'll reuse some things as I see appropriate from the other side. Because, yeah, it doesn't even have the same, wheel arches or anything. So, let's go ahead and nuke. Done. Strongest British vehicle. Go ahead and get rid of this as well. Alright, now it's starting to look really jank. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and nuke everything. Pretty much just reusing the chassis. I'll reuse the license plate too. I'll save the front bumper. I'll probably use that pretty similar. Get rid of this. Won't get rid of the light there. I really like the front of the ferret and the rabbit. I think they look really cute. Just so cute, you won't forget that it's taking your child to the forced orphanage, forced adoption program. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, so Mr. Emerald Vlogs asks how long this stream has been going. About an hour. We're about an hour in. Screw it, I'm just gonna get rid of all this too. This is all meant for the whole split windshield type of deal, and this vehicle will not have a split windshield. Okay. Go ahead and yeet this. Oh, alright, I'll save this windshield wiper. How's it going, Evasive Saturn? Glad to see you in the chat. We're having fun here, just ripping an Unu ferret to shreds. Okay, so we got a nice little frame part down here. And then we've got all that running gear. So now it's time to turn this Unu ferret into an FSM Delivery. I'm going to go ahead and save this mirror. Okay, and screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this entire door too. Well, I'll save these bits. Alright, get rid of this as well. Just absolutely decimating this thing. Okay. So let's give this car some curves. It's a very, very curvy boy, this FSM Delivery. So 7.8 here. So Emerald Vlogs asks, I plan on making the mod pack higher than 1.12.2. So that is a very complicated thing because, of course, I want to use Unu in any mod pack I end up making. So if you're talking about the end of Minecraft, that's going to be dependent on Unu, which of course is dependent on immersive vehicles. And so, immersive vehicles has to update before Unu can update to the newer versions. So, I would love to update to the newer versions. I'm sure I wouldn't take a lot for me to have to once Don Bruce updates immersive vehicles. And hey, he's always looking for coding help, so I'm sure he'd be happy to have some volunteers. Okay, widening this back out. So, is this wheel still angled? These wheels are still angled. Because the rabbit and ferret have some stees with some positive camber. What is up? This is like a half pixel or something? No. I really like the version 2 of the rabbit and ferret. They look a lot cuter. Okay, so this entire side here with the wheels tucked in. So we'll go ahead and have to bring in the front wheels a bit because of the design of this truck. Uh, Not really going to be able to do that with the frame being how it is. I'll just make the frame a little narrower. Scooch. Scooch. Alright, then bring all this in. Wheel left front. Gonna have to select all that. Select parts, and then bring this in. Make sure everything's selected, which something in there is not. And that is because it is a duplicate thing. Alright, wheel right front. Select parts, select all this. Make sure everything's selected and scooch it in. Bring this in. Shorten this up. And bring it in. Perfect. So Mr. Omervog says his car usually explodes on first impact, glitches out, or not even allow more than one seat. Yeah, those are some weird issues. Sometimes, like, something like that can happen if you've got, like, sometimes exploding happens and whatnot, but usually not the seat limiting thing, so that looks like it could be an issue. As always, make sure you've got the latest versions of everything, MTS, the UNU betas, stuff like that. But yeah, that's an interesting issue. So I would suggest posting logs in the MTS repair shop chat. They'll be able to help you out there. Because most of the time, things like that aren't necessarily an UNU problem. It's usually more of an MTS issue. Okay, and then bring this in. Both of them are 6, right? Yep. All right. It looks like I just might be able to squeeze this engine in between these seats. It's going to be an interesting one. Because the seats and everything, of course, are so wide. I mean, it's 11 divided by 16. So that's 0.6875, 0.6875 meters to inches, because I'm an American. So yeah, 27 inches. What's that, feet? Yeah, that's a pretty wide seat. 2 feet, 2.5, 2.25 feet. It's a pretty wide seat. I mean, it's a little wide. Like, I have a forward control van in real life, and the seats are I think about 20 inches wide. So, yeah. But I'm making this work. Get a drink. All right. Very cool. So things are starting to come together. We have the bulge going. Go ahead and make that wheel visible again. I'll make all the parts visible. Why not? Or make them all invisible. Okay. Excellent. Excuse me. All right. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Probably make this a little shorter in the back. So we'll go ahead and go with something around like that for now. Just as a general starting point. Then we'll bring it down and make it 1 wide for the wheels and everything. And then down a little more. No, actually, I'll just make it 1. And now we've got that very iconic skirt that the vehicle has. Evasive Saturn offers to help with animating cars. Well, hey, I'm intrigued. And if you're talking about like Minecraft animations and whatnot, as far as like MTS animations, I'm kind of the king of that. But yeah, I kind of want to get into making like machinimas or something. So I don't know, could be interesting. I'll make this door go down. Let's see. Let's pull up the Google here. Let's see if I can find a picture with the door open. Door open. Close. So I'm curious what the wheel well looks like with the door behind the door. But see, this is why I like finding stuff where it's an ad for the vehicle for sale, because people will take more candid pictures. It's very hard to find these kind of pictures when it's not a vehicle. Like, you can't find an ad. So let's see if I can find an ad. We'll go over here to the Facebooks. In case you're wondering, I am not Janet. This is a fake account that I made just so I could go on Facebook Marketplace and stuff without having to be harassed about getting asked to make an account. Interesting. So, Evasive Streams got a Minecraft animation series in the works. I've had people ask to use UNU vehicles and animations before. They've never made an animation, but I am familiar with rigging, so I can rig up a model. If you want to use an UNU model in your animation, I'm happy to rig it up for you because I'm familiar with how the models go together and everything. So if that's something you want to do, go ahead and join the UNU Discord and ping me, and we'll private message about that later. So I'm always happy. There's a Minecraft like zombie survival series where someone used UNU vehicles, and I thought that was really cool. I'm always like seeing my stuff in interesting settings like that. Dang, this has the door open, and this is an older one with the sliding door. I think that's kind of neat. I'm not going to do the sliding door because it's an inefficient waste of space, but that is kind of neat. Well, maybe the Wikipedia page will have a picture. And it does not. It's very, very short Wikipedia page. Let's see if this Flickr album's got something. Nope. It's got a couple pictures of the van I'm looking for, obviously from a car show. How's it going, Logic Gaming? Glad you can join into the stream. Hope you enjoy your time here. Hope we can all enjoy watching how an UNU vehicle is made. If I can't find a picture soon, I'm just going to make something up. This seems like an interesting thing. I'm trying to find a picture of this van with the door open. This is the closest I've been able to find. Oh, here we go. Oh, interesting. So the wheel well is all enclosed. I think that might just be because it's a sliding door. Oh, well, I guess it makes sense. You wouldn't want a bunch of crud getting all over the door. Well, I'm going to ignore that, I think. I have a few Apocalypse vehicles. They're not updated at the moment, but yeah. So yeah, I think the way this is going to work is the door will just kind of open like this, and it'll have the wheel all exposed. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Like that. Then you climb in. And then I'll scooch this door forward a bit. It doesn't need to be that far back. Bring this forward. Okay. Go ahead and copy this. And then set this to 0. Cool. It's all starting to take shape. I think I'm going to have to tweak this though. Copy. Boom, reverse this and bring it back. So I think this is about the size of the van. So it's going to be quite a bit shorter than the ferret. I've got a ping in the Immersive Vehicles Discord. What do they want? Okay. Cool. So, Logic Gaming asks what vehicle I use to make all these vehicles. And that is going to be... Oh, actually, I don't think I have it. Yeah, so that's going to be the Minecraft SMP Toolbox. It's an old software specifically made for Flansmod. so it's easy to make flans mod vehicles. I just use it because it's the one I'm really good at. I don't want to learn new software, and it does what I need it to do. And it's pretty handy. You can draw on the model and everything. So yeah. So yeah, Mr. Emerald Vlogs asked if this van is for the Civilian Immersive Vehicles mod pack. I don't know about a mod pack. Mod packs can use whatever they want. This is going to be part of the UNUverse pack, which is sort of like an expanded universe of my UNU civilian and military packs. So this is going to be a civilian vehicle for an UNU themed pack, for sure. Okay, so I think I've got the sides pretty much taken care of, not that complicated. Now it's time for the front. Parts, delete offsets. Make sure to keep my chat open so I can keep an eye on them. Okay, so I think I'll probably make this about 4 here. And sort of pinch it a bit. Give it that arrow. Bring this out another one. Should make the jet truck. What's the jet truck? Oh, yeah, that's a little beyond the scope of what UNU's really all about. If you want to know what UNU's about, it's a little more this kind of era. Back when the atom was all the rage, and that sort of deal. Cars had fins and 20 pounds of chrome. That's the Discord. There we go. All right. Okay. Yeah, I googled a picture of the jet truck real quick. Doesn't disappoint. Looks pretty insane. I would go to IVV Labs for something like that. That seems a little more up their alley. There are a lot of different MTS packs. I'd recommend checking a lot of them out. You never know when you might find your next favorite. Of course, I'm partial to UNU, but hey. UNU doesn't have a helicopter yet, but I am working on adding one in a very soon upcoming update. Cactus is actually has made a Huey that is going to be in the UNU pack update very, very soon. So, yeah, it doesn't have it yet, but it will very soon. The Chrysler turbine car is one that I do plan on making. So Chase Williams mentions the Chrysler jet car. I will be making the Chrysler turbine car at some point for UNU. That's just too good to pass up. Let's get rid of all this. I'm not going to be reusing any of this UV mapping anyway. How many MTS packs are there? Ooh, that's a good question. The big ones are going to be UNU, Trin, DKZ, Diamond Warriors, I would say, but they're not very active at the moment. Then there's IVV, which is Immersive Vehicles Vanity. It's sort of a It's basically a giant shitpost of a pack, which is why I suggested that they would probably make that jet truck, because that, IVV is very, like, trolly. But yeah, there's a lot of different packs out there, all for depending on what you're into. Really, if you're getting started, Unu and Trin are going to be the best ones to start with because they've got the most variety. They're by far the biggest packs. There will be a police version of the Huey. I can't say when it will be released, but I can say that it will have a police version once I make it, or once Cactus already made it. I've just got to do some tweaks and get it in the game. Yeah, I agree. The Chrysler Jet car was a really neat one. When automakers weren't afraid of doing something new. Yeah, Laura's in the chat, and she has a hand in pretty much every MTS pack to some degree. Reminds me of me not too long ago. Well, pretty long ago at this point. But yeah, I used to be very similar. I used to be in every MTS Discord and keep track of everything. I freaking did some of Blaze's. I compiled his jars and stuff so he could actually have a pack. There's a lot of stuff like that I did in the early days, but then it started detracting from my work with Unu, and I was focusing on other people's packs more than mine, and so I called it off, and now I just mostly work on my own stuff. Which has been a big improvement. It's helped me focus on Unu a lot. And this is probably a year and a half, 2 years ago now, so it's been a while. Hey, it's ya boy John. Welcome to the chat, and I recognize you from the Quality Unu Discord server. Alright, so now I've got the little nose section here. But yeah, a lot of the packs in MTS don't update too frequently. Like, I get a lot of flack because I've been working on an update for a long time, especially from people who, if you donate to my Patreon, you get early access to my packs. And so I get a lot of people saying, oh, he's just not updating because he just wants to promote his Patreon. But there are a lot of packs that don't add a lot, like, don't update very often. Yeah, like Trin is really one of the more active ones, but their pack is still really out of date in terms of like MTS stuff. I don't know, it's just interesting. And of course, Blaze doesn't add a lot of content too often, and DKZ's kind of been stuck in development hell, like Unu, and it's just right now I think there's this little downturn in MTS in terms of people making content. For a while there was a big uptick in MTS pack makers. Everybody was updating their pack with the new features and everything, but it's kind of slowed down pretty considerably. What do I do for work? So currently, I make a decent amount of money doing this modeling stuff. I average about a couple $100 a month, and then I'm also a program assistant at my university. I help the entrepreneurship center plan events and stuff. So very exciting. It's neat stuff. Event planning. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Yeah, no, this is how Unu vehicles are. I start with a chassis, rip everything apart, and then kind of spread everything out and the way I make Unu vehicles is kind of, I like to make it in a way that kind of reflects how you'd make a vehicle in reality. Like, a lot of the pieces and stuff go together pretty similar. All right, so there we go. We got that little corner piece. And one thing that I like to do with the corner pieces is make sure that all 6 sides of the cube are still visible. And that's why I've got this little bottom piece here that's a little wonky. But that's fine because you can't see it. But if I brought this 5 over, then you'd have this face would completely disappear, and it could cause some lighting glitches, usually with Flans mod, but I like to make everything in a way that works with Flans mod too. Because, one day I'll eventually update my Flans mod stuff. Okay, so now we've got this little front bit taken care of here. And then do this. Boom, boom. How would I rate my rigging skills 1 to 10? Definitely probably like a 2 or 3, just because I don't have a lot of experience with it. I know how to do bones and, things like that. Like, I set up bones and I made like it so, here, let me see if, we're going to take a little tangent. I'm going to see if I could find a rig that I did. Pictures, rendering. I think I had it. Where is it? Renders, there we go. Maybe it was in videos? Let's see if I can find my rig really quick. We'll take a little intermission here for a sec. Blender? Nope, that's just video output. Animations. Rigs. Vehicles. Unu wagon? Is this it? Yeah, okay, so here's a rig that I made. This is the old wagon model, and you can see the bones. And so, for example, I gotta go to pose, right? Pose mode. So, for example, I have it so that the doors and everything open and close, and they actually have, they're locked to the limits of what they can actually do. And then I also have the axle here, can move up and down, and then it can also rotate. Of course, it's clamped, and then you can also rotate the wheels. How do I do that? Oh, it's all tied to the steering wheel. And so you can turn the steering wheel, and the wheels rotate, and then this is the pedal here. So I animated the pedals, and then the entire engine is actually set up to be used as a suspension system that's, proper to the original engineering of the car. So you see how the axles rotate, and you can even, I think you can also, you can rotate it in different ways to sort of simulate suspension. And then, of course, you can move the entire car. But, yeah, and then you could roll the car as well if I hit the right axis. And so the entire car will roll. Obviously, this is a little dramatic, but because I didn't clamp it. But you can like roll it and the axles won't move. So, like, for example, if you're going around a turn, then yeah. Let me see if I can make the bones more invisible. But yeah, so you can like go around a turn and stuff. So this is what I've done. Now, what I can't do, and that I don't know how to do, let me go ahead and bring this all back to normal, is, for example, when I have the suspension move, you can see the little springs under here don't distort. And so I don't know how to tie certain things so that when you move this, the suspension kind of tweaks and moves as well. So I'm pretty good. Like I could do this, but I would probably need some help if I were to, go further and try to, make more stuff. And then I also have this wheel here to, move all the wheels. So just little stuff like that. Very mechanical uh, stuff, just because, I don't have to worry about like flexing anything. It's all very rigid. But yeah, that's a little rig. Eventually, I want to rig all of my vehicles and then have like a package that people can download to put their cars in my vehicles in their animations. But that's not happening yet. Okay. Oh no, Timothy Banks asked if I'm working on a 4-door Rabbit. That's the old Rabbit model. So the Rabbit originally was a 4-door, but it no longer is. Hmm. There we go. That was a bit of a that's a little thing. I did some math over here just to make it so that it's flat. What's gonna be the new taxi? Probably the UNU 650. I'm gonna probably make a taxi variant of that. I've been wanting to make a taxi for a long time, just for some reason haven't. So yeah, I'm going to be making a taxi. I'll probably the UNU 650, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna make these. Well, no, I can't really do that, or else the seats will get all janked. Yeah, it doesn't quite look right. That's a 2, so this has got to be a 5. There we go. That looks much better. Kind of. Crap, now I gotta deal with this. A Baron sedan. You mean square variant? I'm not exactly sure you mean there. I'm not gonna make the Baron a taxi just because it's too short. It'll be annoying to get in and out of as a taxi. So I'm probably gonna make the 650 a taxi version of the 650, which is like the more 50s car because it's roomier and make a better taxi. Okay, so I got this taken care of. So time to make some A pillars. Yeah, I don't know. I like doing this. It's sometimes I'll definitely get a little like tense when I keep screwing something up or whatever, but for now that's actually going pretty good. Okay, 4 and 8. Bring this in, and then yeah, so I'm editing this here. Bring these in and out. Then time to angle it forward and determine the fate of the front of this van. How angled will the windshield be? And I'm going to go with that. That looks pretty good. I like it. There already is a UPS type truck in the civilian pack. If I hop over in here, go into modeling, immersive vehicles, UNU civil pack, UNU vehicles, and then it's the camel. No, that's the fire truck. What is it? Pigeon, mammoth, boober. The turtle. Boom. UPS truck. Ignore the weird thing. So yeah, this is already in the mod. The back door slides up and everything. It's very cool. So yeah, you could use the MTS skin system to make a UPS version. Looks like Timothy Banks is on it. He knows about the turtle. Okay, so we'll go in here. Tweak these a bit. I've never used Blender 3.0. Okay. So this is going pretty good, but the looks like it has a slight curve in the front that I didn't account for. So I'm gonna have to add that, which isn't too hard. Just gotta shorten all this up a bit. For now, I'll make a copy of this little bit just to save it. And then I'll just part that's 10 long. And then 3, 4, 7, 8. Make those 0. 3, 4, 7, 8. Very nice. And then I'll make this bump out a smidge. So 3, 7, 4, 8. The nice thing about doing this for so long is you get familiar with the special coordinate system. And then I'll bring this back as well. Look at that. Then just mirror it. Opposite. Square up the Z's. And then for this one, square up everything. For this one, square up the X's and square up the X's. And then I have to re-add the one on the bottom. Or top, actually. Boom. And actually, I think I'm going to tweak this a bit. Make it, instead of bumping out, bumping it in. I'll make the texture a little cleaner. So we gotta pull in 6, 7, 2, and 3. These are just slight little things to fix texture warping. And then 2 and 3 up here. Oh, I mixed one of them. And then re-add that on the 6. What did I do? Oh, okay. Nice. Alright. Hey, it's night scale. Oh, huh. Alright, so Timothy Banks' Night Scale. Cool. Now I can understand why you are so active in chat, because you're a regular. I was like, huh, this guy's like really in no, I've never heard of this guy. Night Scale. Well, good to see you. It's too bad you left the UNU Discord. Alright. Settings, you can change it in settings. What? Eh. So, this is not a remodel or a new variant of the Tradesman. This is the FSM Delivery. So, I'm making this Morris 2J, or J2 van. It was sponsored by White Falcon, and I was using the Ferret as sort of a base. And so it's going to kind of be like if the Ferret and the Tradesman had a baby. Oh, hey, glad to see you back. Yeah, sometimes, people on the UNU can be a little, not salty, but abrasive. So it was just, you know, you can't let that stuff get under your skin. And I'm glad to see that you're back. You're a welcome addition to the UNU family. Alright. Just tweak this a bit, fight some texture Z fighting. Oh wait, no, that actually won't work. Because then it'll make a hole. So I'll just scoot this back. Copy, bring it forward, and pinch it. Boom. Cool. This is actually starting to come along really well. I probably will make a milk truck version of this. I also want to make a Metro. I don't know what the make or model is. I know it's something Metro. It's like a cute little 50s milk truck van. They'll probably make something related to that. As well in the future, as like a more, I don't know, like more UNU version of the turtle, because the turtle's a little generic looking. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this window in here. Now, in case you're wondering why the windows are done like this, it's so that they look the same as when I have them in MTS. So that's why these window textures are always stretched like this, because that's how MTS does it, and I kind of like it. Boom, 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 boom. Alright, so now that seems all lined up, and then now I can sort of get that all to play nice with everything else. So that right there, and then 1, 2. Nope, that's the wrong thing. Three, 4. There we go. Get rid of this one. Okay. So this needs to be -3 because it's 10 wide, right? Or is it 12? It's 12, so that'd be -2. Then, boom. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, it's not 2, it's 4. Windshield accomplished. Alright, Luigi on Discord, send a friend request. Yeah, my DMs are locked too, so friend requests or how that works. The International Harvester Metro. That is what I was talking about. Vin Diesel doesn't belong here. He's on vacation. Okay. So yeah, this is coming along pretty well. I got the nice whole front thing going. And go ahead. So how tall is this? This is 12 and it's 4. So it's a 0.3 each level. Nice. Very good, clean, not whack number at all. So, Technoku asks if MTS is my mod or if someone else owns it and we all work together and your mod requires it. So, MTS, also known as Immersive Vehicles, is a pack-based mod. So, Don Bruce is the individual who maintains the core mod, and then I work on one of the packs for the mod. So that's sort of how that works. So yeah, it's someone else maintains the core mod, and then I make one of the vehicle mods for it, which is UNU. Quality, always. Anyone says it's not quality, they will be shot by the Blackthorn Authority in your area. Alright, let's pull up the calculator. So we've got 11 divided by 12, so that's this, multiplied by... So tall. So what am I doing here? Multiplied by 2. So 1.8333. Minus 1. I don't know why I even had to do that. Oh no, sorry, minus 2. Well, okay, then plus 1. That's the number I'm looking for. Boom, 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 boom. That way, this all lines up well. Or at least in theory, if my math was right, something's up. Oh, it says I also need to... Because I corrected it for the side to side, but I also need to correct it for the front to back. So we go 11 divided by 12 times 4 equals that certain amount minus 4. And so I need to pull this in a third. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And this has to stick out an extra third. I always use 4 decimal places just because an old college professor I had said that we had to do 4 decimal places, and I kind of just made that the standard ever since. And I think it was, it's also solidified by the fact that Toolbox has 4 decimal places as well. Alright, bring this. I'll remake that one. Alright, so bring this down 1. I keep accidentally doing that. Okay, so we got an extra third on these bottom ones here. And then, what was it? This. And that is the UNU difference, using math to make all this line up perfectly. Then for this one, I just copy it and then get rid of the X changes and bring it back here. Shorten this up a bit. Very cool. Bring it down a little. And then do the same modifications on here. Right? No? Okay, something's... Oh, that's right, because I have to invert it because it's a subtraction. There we go. Look at that. Oh, almost. Something's up. Oh, yeah, it says it's the third and not the 8 one. There we go. See? Lines up perfect. And then, of course, got to make the top line up perfect as well. See that? Perfectly right in half. It's got all these wacky decimals. Get rid of that. And I am not looking at chat. Content is quality. I've gone through it, tested for bugs that have been overlooked many, many times. Yeah, I'm aware of all the bugs you found, Laura. You ping me in the staff chat and stuff, and in bug reports, and I do try to pin them and keep them all in mind. I just have to get through updating everything. Like I said, still a beta, not updated yet. Got to fix all those bugs. And then, wait, if Blackthorn's a dictatorship, for lack of better words, who's the leader? What's it like being on top of the empire? And what kind of doctor degree you got? And then, can I add UNU as a company in the animation series? How do I get the vehicles you show? How do I get the double-decker bus thing? Alright, so if Blacktator's a dictatorship, who's the leader and all that? So the leader of Blackthorn is Luigi Faraci, which is a character based off of my Minecraft avatar, Dr. Fezzy Luigi. As a more hyperbolized version, he's got a doctorate in... I don't know. I don't know if he's actually like an actual doctor or everyone just calls him doctor. Stuff I'm still kind of working on. And then, yeah, you can totally use UNU as a company in this series. I'd love it if you use my vehicles and stuff. All that I ask is my vehicles have this little UNU logo on them. As long as you don't modify that and you use this logo as like the UNU logo, I'm totally fine with it. Let UNU proliferate. How do I get the vehicles I show? How do I get the double-decker bus thing? So the double-decker bus currently is, and it looks like Night Scale's already on it. The double-decker bus is currently outdated. It's gonna be re-added once, again, I gotta update a whole bunch of stuff. I'm way behind on all that. Just because it's a lot of stuff to do. I've got like 60 vehicles. Like, here, let me show you a JSON of one of my vehicles. Just a random vehicle. This is what the JSON looks like. And this isn't even that complicated vehicle. This is a normal pickup truck, and it's almost 2,000 lines. I got all these particles here, and everything. So, I'm updating everything to use the proper lighting system that MTS added, which is a whole new thing. And so, I'm constantly bogged down in this stuff, which is why things like the double-decker bus, rather than update it and let it slow me down, I want to remodel it at some point anyway, because the model's a little outdated. And so I just decided I'll get rid of it for now, and I'll reintroduce it at a later point. I like the idea of a philosophy or a failed art degree or something like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep it in mind about what his doctorate is. Probably something like lame or weird like that. That is just like a weird political figure. Philosophy would be a good one. And yeah, so the vehicles that are shown on the curse page that are not currently in the mod that used to be in the mod, the three biggest ones are the double-decker bus, just because it's a lot to update with all the seats and everything, and I didn't really like it. I got to redo it because I remodeled the main bus. Then there's the school bus, same deal. Just got to update it, and just didn't feel like holding up everything else. The articulated fire truck, that was really buggy with how the trailer worked. And then the Swift, the giant supersonic plane, because it was really glitchy, and I have to update it. And I got enough people riding my ass about updates in the first place anyway. And so, yeah, it's just one of those things that I'm going to have to get to just because, like Laura said, I'm constantly bogged down with bugs and everything. And yeah. An alternate skid copy of some of your vehicles with a recolored UNU logo. The cyan on the UNU logo is the absolute trademark. That cyan color, that UNU cyan, is very much a defining part of the UNU brand. People see this color, they don't call it cyan, they call it UNU cyan. So everything that I've done with that color and everything is very strategic. And so if you're using it for personal uses, I don't care what you do with my mods. If you do it for personal stuff or whatever, um, if you're doing it for like a server or you plan on redistributing it as a skin pack, obviously I have no control over any of that. But I would prefer that the UNU logos and stuff, and that specifically the cyan color and the chrome of the logo stays how it is, just because that's very important for the brand iconography. But, at the end, you can do whatever you want. The ability to barricade doors, tires, and stuff on UNU vehicles, that is something I will think about when it comes to the Redcliffe pack. I want to add more customization stuff, like I'll have the stake side bed, the visors, and the fender covers and everything. So that's actually a good idea, and I'll keep that in mind if I, remember. And if you're talking rust on the logo, that's fine, as long as it's but I think with what Laura might be saying is like making the logo chrome rather than having the sand paint in there. But yeah, as long as it's like still, if someone looks at it and it's like, oh, that's clearly an UNU logo, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I've toned down the UNU cyan on the military stuff quite a bit. All right, anyway, I need to get focused more on this vehicle here. Boom, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. And yeah. Yeah, the cyan isn't, I mean, I've toned it down on the military stuff, but like I said, you could do whatever you want at the end of the day. I'm just, like I said, I think, one of the biggest parts of UNU's success as an MTS pack is the fact that I've been able to brand it pretty effectively. And so that branding is a huge part of the UNU strategy, for lack of a better word. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, for personal use, you can do whatever you want. If you distribute it, I might get a little butthurt, but there's nothing I can really do about it. So, let's make sure all this is good. Boom. And boom. Look at that. We are cruising right along. So yeah, it's like I don't know if I'll ever do that with the civilian vehicles. Being able to board them up and everything, just because that would be a lot of work to do to add that to all the vehicles. Because in order to do something like that effectively, to make an accessory system like how I have, I would have to modify all of the variables. I mean, all the models, update the JSONs. That would be a lot to add something like that. But I do plan on making rundown, like rusty versions of a lot of different UNU vehicles for the Redcliffe and the Confederate pack. And so I will definitely, when I do that, I'll probably, to make like the Redcliffe, apocalyptic vehicles, I'll probably make them modifiable. So you can take like the derelict version of the Unu car and then apocalyptic it. So that's something I'll definitely, think about, and I'll try to, you know, do that in the future. I'll try to keep that in mind when I update the pack. But like I said, I got Laura ticked off because I forget her bugs, and it's like I've got so many things going on that sometimes I just lose stuff. All right, definitely make content faster than they can. Yeah, no, 8 years, and I'm just kind of chilling. I'm kind of going slow on this one because I mostly get caught up in the conversation, which is nice. I wanted this to be like a hangout thing, especially for the people who subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's good to have a person behind the voice of the tutorials. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. We're chilling. We're hanging out. We're making a Morris J2 van for occupied Europe in the Blackthorn UNUverse. We're having fun here. Chuck it in the commissions section. Well, if you're talking about this vehicle, this is already a commission made by White Falcon. So this is not a commission, a sponsorship. Very different. Commissions, I used to do commissions. I did a few of them, and they're fun. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of enjoyed the commission. I made this like flying Da Vinci thing, and commissions, when I do them, I charge a premium just because I don't get a choice over what I make. That's the difference between a commission and a sponsorship. Is that with a commission, you're saying, hey, I want a Yugo, I want a Da Vinci flying machine or whatever, and I give you a price and I make it. And so I don't care. I mean, look, Yugos are great. I didn't plan on making a Yugo. I don't want to make a Yugo for Unu or anything, and so that's why the commissions are more expensive. Is you have to pay me to make it worth it, basically. Uh, and so yeah, so that's a commission, and I used to do those, and like my lowest commission was the Yugo for $80, but more typically, I'll do a commission for like 100. And I've done a couple of those, and I prefer the sponsorships because I can, have a little more creative liberty with it, and I can, add it to the UNUverse and the Unu packs, and it makes Unu better. So I think it's more of a win-win doing these sponsorships, and they're really fun. Oh, the upgrades feature. I don't know. The upgrades feature I'm going to do for the derelict versions of the cars for the Redcliffe pack, assuming I remember to. I intend to. I want to. But as for making that something that you know could someone could like pay to have added to existing Unu vehicles, maybe I'll think about that. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Just because, like I said, that's something that I honestly I don't really want to do. Just because, like I said, I get stuck updating vehicles enough as it is. Like for example, I'm making it so that when a vehicle overheats, the radiator steams and everything, and like goes out the hood and stuff. And I really like that. It's a cool feature. I'm gonna add it to all my vehicles. That's an easy one to add. It's just a little particle section, get some coordinates, whatever. But the thing is, I have to do that to every single Unu vehicle. And that takes a lot of time because I've got a lot of vehicles I need to add that to and make the positions and everything. So, I don't really want to do something like that for boarded up windows and everything for the existing vehicles. All right. So, aside from the upgrades feature, we got the green delivery van. It's a green van with yellow text. Green van with yellow text. Is there Unu lore? Yes, there is definitely Unu lore. I have a channel on the Unu Discord. Okay, this is not a KKK thing. This is my siblings, and she was a ghost for Christmas, and we thought the picture was funny. Do not cancel me. That's not a KKK hood. I swear to God, that does not look good. I promise you, that is not a KKK hood. It's my sister's ghost costume that we thought looked funny. It only kind of looks like a KKK hood. It's not pointy on the top. Yeah, okay. So the only pings on my channel were from my private chat. Okay. What was I doing? Oh, UNU lore. So if you go all the way down to world building on the UNU channel, and then general, this is where a lot of the lore is kind of spat out. TLDR of the UNU lore, United States Civil War ended in a Confederate ceasefire, so the Confederacy became a thing, which led to the Allies losing, which led to during the late 1920s, early 30s, during the Great Depression, the Blackthorn workers movement rioted against, the working class, working conditions and the capitalists and all that. And at the time, UNU was a laboratory studying radiation. And, because the Depression was incoming, the UNU laboratory, Catherine DeSato, one of the lab assistants, decided to use the last of their funding, because their funding probably was not going to get renewed due to the Depression, to purchase a failing automaker. So they did. They purchased a failing automaker with the goal of engineering a superior car that they could sell for cheap to raise money to keep the lab funded. And so that's where the UNU Mastodon was born. They engineered the first automatic transmission in a way that could be mass produced cheaply. The rest of the car was very outdated, had wooden wheels, wooden framework with just metal sheeting on it. It was 5 years out of date, which was a lot in the auto industry in the early days. And so they were able to cut costs everywhere on like the chassis and the body and everything, but they gave it a 6-cylinder engine and an automatic transmission in 1930, which was unheard of at the time. And so just because of, they spent the money on the drivetrain and the automatic transmission and focused on like making a car that anybody could drive. And so even though there was the Depression, the car sold very well and funded UNU, and UNU eventually expanded its manufacturing. And during the Blackthorn Revolution, the Blackthorn riots, the workers' riots, UNU, because Catherine DeSato, the president of UNU, they started out as a laboratory. They wanted to make money just to keep their lab going. So UNU was not very profit-driven. And so they paid the workers very well because they just wanted to make enough money to get by. And so, Catherine, being a laboratory student and everything, was leaning on the side of communist, socialist, that kind of deal. And so UNU partnered with the Blackthorn Revolution, supplying them with light arms and small vehicles and stuff to sort of push the revolution forward. And as UNU expanded with the revolution, that they actually managed to overthrow the United States government, which fractured the United States into the Blackthorn, which is sort of the Midwest to the East Coast, and then what was left of the U.S. became the Free State up in the New England area from Massachusetts to Maine. And then you have the Pacific States, which is the West Coast and the Rockies, and then the areas like by Colorado, Nebraska, and all that sort of became unincorporated Indian territory. And so then, because of this fracturing of the United States and Blackthorn becoming very authoritarian and communist, not communist so much as the Russian style, but more socialist in the, German Workers' Party style. And so, because Blackthorn is very authoritarian, they allied with the Axis during World War II. The Confederacy, going back to the Civil War, was pretty tight with the British Empire. Historically, the British Empire almost supported the Confederacy because of their cotton supply, but ended up, staying out of it. And so in this timeline, the British backed the Confederacy, and so the Confederacy joined the British in the Allied forces, and the Allied forces eventually lost. And so rather than World War II in our timeline being like, oh, the democracy won out, democracy defeated authoritarianism, it was the other way. Authoritarianism won. And so in the world of Blackthorn and the UNUverse is a world where the authoritarians won World War II and run everything, and uh, the democracies are kind of forced into hiding, and kind of how Germany was occupied, Britain was occupied in this timeline. Things like that. So yeah, that's a TLDR 15-minute rant. Okay, upgrades feature sponsorship channel. Is there UNU lore? That's it. So yeah, the upgrades feature. Like I said, what I'm gonna do is the derelict versions of the vehicles that I'm going to make. Those will likely have the features to turn it into like a Redcliffe thing, board up the windows and stuff like that. I'm probably not going to do that on the normal vehicles, just because like why would you have a boarded up window on a brand new car? And yeah, so yeah, cool. Forgot the name, but I believe it has delivery in the name. Yeah, I need loaders, blockers, and duplicate JSONs with that feature added to make updating one vehicle a lot harder with IE and a non-IE copy. Oh yeah, so yeah, okay. A line in the episode of my series of the character talk about the UNU logo. I thought Siegel did an easier method with the Invisi-Seat. I'm not even sure what that's referring to. Oh, gotcha. Can't fly without an Invisi-Seat. Why does the trailers become invisible when I spawn it? The long trailers. I'm not sure. I haven't had any issues with the trailers. Make sure you're using the latest beta. A lot of people accidentally use the latest release, and if you use the latest release with the newest version of MTS and stuff, things get a little messed up. So make sure you're using the UNU beta. If you're still having issues with the trailer, post a log and screenshots in the UNU support channel, the bug reports or the support channel. Boom, can't wait for the jet car. Yeah, that was going to be coming down the line. I'll probably put it in the sponsorship vehicle. I can't say when I'll make it, but it's one that I definitely want to make. And then, yeah, Night Scale still going on about the upgraded vehicles and stuff. And like I said, we'll see what happens. I don't really want to put something. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, so I got this front clip kind of taken care of. Kind of ended up going more with this style. Let me see what this guy looks like. All right, so yeah, I'll probably gotta get a little more down there. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. So I'll kind of leave the front like that for now and kind of round out the rear. I really like the back of this van, how these curves come down and everything. That's kind of neat looking. So let's work on that. All right. Okay, I can go ahead and get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. And that, mirror all of this. Now it's starting to look like a van, even if it's got a really wacky paint job. The curve things. Yeah, I'm really liking how the front of this van is turning out. I just got to give it a little more of this sort of front. But I'll work on that once I get the back kind of done. And yeah, I really like how this curve comes down and everything. It's very Art Deco. Okay, so let's see how I'm going to do that. So we'll go ahead and bring this down here. There we go. Maybe like that. We'll do that for now. Bring this down. And then bring that out. Very cool. That sharpen 602. Then bring the 8 back a bit. Should bring the 7 up. There we go. That should work. Cool. Maybe bring this in like that. We'll see. So mirror this to the other side. All right, then we got to lean the back of this van forward a bit. So I'm actually going to delete this so I can start shaping the back of the van. Probably just a nice subtle 2-pixel thing here. There we go. And then I'll bring this out just to sort of round off the corner. Very nice. Not too shabby. And go ahead and bring this in a little more. Bring the top of this out. Probably bring this actually back in so that I can actually bring it in like this. Let's see if anything's going on in Stream Chat because I accidentally got rid of that. Okay. Boom. Is this the lore in TEOM? Yeah, so the TEOM world is basically the aftermath of Blackthorn. So the lore ends with a nuclear Armageddon. Basically, Blackthorn self-destructs, and I'd rather be dead than whatever. So yeah, they nuke themselves basically, because there's an overwhelming invasion. Basically, after the up through the 40s, 50s, and 60s, there's the Reich and Blackthorn and all these fascist powers basically run the world. But in the very late 60s, early 70s, with the advent of information technology and the Free State and the Pacific states creating nukes of their own and everything, eventually they're able to overthrow, not overthrow, but like surpass Blackthorn in technology, or at least become equivalent to them, because Blackthorn started with UNU, which was a laboratory studying radiation, which gave them a very solid advantage. They had access to, nukes really early on. That's what also won the war. But, uh, you know, eventually they decide that them being the other American factions, the Confederacy, the Pacific States, the Free State, they want to challenge authoritarianism and bring, save the world, basically. And so, uh, they defeat the Reich. The Reich kind of implodes on itself, as it kind of would inevitably do. And with that, Blackthorn loses a pretty strategic ally and a big blow to their morale, which causes ripple effects that weaken their position. And yeah, so basically they get ganged on and taken over. But before the allies can win and take Blackthorn as their own, Blackthorn decides to just, they go with their contingency plan, which is it's better to die free than let the enemy take you over. Basically, a giant suicide cult. And so Blackthorn orders everybody to take a cyanide capsule that was mailed out beforehand. Everybody does because, most people do because they're loyal Blackthorn citizens. And the invading armies suddenly realize that there's no more firing going on, no one's shooting at them. So they go in to investigate to find everybody in Blackthorn has committed suicide. They find, everybody sprawled out on their lawns, just in their spiffiest attire. Every car is in the driveway. And as the invading people are coming in and seeing the horrific aftermath, then all the fusion reactors go critical and self-destruct as well, and decimating everybody and everything. And that is the happy ending of Blackthorn. And so then TEOM takes place in that nuclear post-apocalyptic wasteland. So yeah, it ends very happily. All right. Jet car. Well, see you later, Technoku. I hope you enjoyed the stream. It probably won't be released tomorrow, but I should get it done pretty quick, and Patreons will get early access to it. Told me investing into a company that makes vaults is a bad idea. And yeah, sounds like where the U.S. is headed IRL. Interesting. All right. I gotta figure out how to make all this work together. So the players in the world kind of are the ones that didn't, commit die. So TEOM is based in Blackthorn in the aftermath. And yeah, UNU still exists. The Blackthorn government completely imploded, but UNU has a lunar base by the, 60s, and so they actually survive and continue selling quality UNU products. In fact, there are UNU representatives at Spawn. Okay, bring this up here. Well, yeah, the Scorcher's policy is pretty selfish, but, Blackthorn was pretty much the whole mentality of, hey, if we can't have it, nobody can. Blackthorn didn't want people taking their technology. Why should these democracies that are invading us benefit from our hard work? Okay. This is all coming together. I don't really like this going on here. Oh yeah, well duh, I can just do this. No. What the heck? Oh, okay, there we go. Here we go. Alright, that's pretty solid. Well, thanks for tuning in, Tade Tunes. Hope you appreciated it, and I'll try to do live streams like this a little more often. This is kind of fun. Boom, boom. Alright, I think it's almost done. Like as far as the main body's going. I like it. And then we got the big old door in the back. It's just a... Oh, it looks like, okay, it looks like some of them are double doors and some of them are single doors. I'll probably go with double door, just because I kind of like how that looks. And of course, the double door it was a little rounded in the back, so I'll have to tweak this a bit. All right. Let me see what's going on in my private chats real quick. Oh, okay, I was just talking about YouTube stuff. Cool, cool. All right. Let's get this all figured out. Rounding out this a bit. I like it. Very cool. So this is not just going to be a delivery van. So the first one I'm going to make is, but then I'm also going to make a window van and a pickup truck version. I'm not exactly what you mean by, not exactly sure what you mean by that, Laura. Curiosity of mine, is it still considered loyal if being non-mortal by blood and death dooms me as we will live through this even after obeying the suicide order? That might be a little bit beyond the scope of the Blackthorn and everything. All right. I'm not super fond of this decimal thing up here because it'll make it harder to do the doors. So I'll probably just make this bump in. The heck? Okay, there we go. Yeah, it works. Yeah, so it's going to have the same variance as the ferret van. What? Why is it? What's going on here? Oh, that should be 2 still. Okay, well now I'm just screwing everything up. Okay, so there's that. Then boom, boom. Okay, there we go. Except I want that 3 to stay put. Cool. All right. Mirror this. Looks a little funky on the bottom here, but that's fine. Nobody really looks at that anyway. It still looks better than most of the... Still more plausible than a lot of the packs out there. I put a lot of effort into making things like this, like the underside and stuff, look believable. All right, so I really like how this is turning out. I love this little round little butt that this van has. It's very cute. All right. Oh, I gotta make this 1 higher. What the heck is this? Oh, this is the old one. Huh, I gotta get rid of that. I accidentally left the old wall in there. There we go. Cool. Ooh, so it's nice and flat with the floor. It's almost, I mean, it's not, obviously it doesn't look like a Volkswagen bus, but like this specific back section with the round, if you ignore these flare outs, totally look like it. I'll probably be reusing this when I make a VW bus. Oh my gosh, this looks so freaking cute. I love it. All right. Yeah, I have not watched Squid Game. I don't know if I will. I've heard it's good and all that, but I don't know. All right. Parts. I'm just going to go ahead and delete the roof. Everything else is gone already. All right. I think I'm pretty solid on the overall shape of everything. If we can, I have to make an ad in the animation series. If you want to voice it, oh, I'd be down. I'll come up with a... I'll make... Is it like an UNU ad? Perfect. Yes, I will totally voice an UNU ad. I have a Audacity and stuff, so I could totally make it like old-timey radio sounding too. I've been meaning, so like, I've been thinking about... Because I make UNU update videos whenever I release like a new big version, and so I've been thinking about making like that more of an ad too, rather than just me mundanely going through everything and listen to my annoying, boring voice forever. Instead, being more animated and everything, and a little more tongue in cheek with a lot of the UNU stuff. Because that's one thing that I like about UNU versus some of the other MTS packs, is a lot of the packs take themselves too seriously, whereas UNU will totally joke about having asbestos in the seats. Alright. Yeah, so this is the van. Right now I'm just making a plain delivery version. But there is a window version that I'm going to be making, and then a pickup truck version, which this isn't it, but and it's close enough. I'm going to make a pickup version as well. So yeah, because it's easy enough to do. Yeah, now I'd be down to make a television ad for UNU. Do I have to yeah, but I think I've already added you on Discord, so we can PM about that stuff later. I'd definitely be interested in it though. I want to do more in the whole YouTube space. It'll be my first ever collab. So yeah, I'm gonna make all this invisible so I can texture it, or texture position the stuff, because we're getting into the end game on this. I was hoping White Falcon would drop by, but he lives in I'm pretty sure he lives in Britain. He might live like in Hungary or something, but it's on the other side of the world, so he probably just can't swing it, and I need to redo all this too, the floor pan. I'll save the middle bits for later, these things, because that's part of the doghouse. I'll make sure to retexture this as well. Cool. So this is everything that's new. Look at it. Alright, edit, select all visible parts. Edit, auto texture position selected parts. Let it do its thing. So UNU is based from the 1920s to the 1960s. Most of the vehicles are going to be 50s and 60s. This particular vehicle is 50s, 60s era. So that's where most of UNU is going to be from. I forgot about these guys. Okay, time for texture time. And so whenever I do texturing like this, I'll usually open up another vehicle and then sort of get an angle like this, copy it with the snipping tool. Then I can open up this guy here and paste. And now I can pick colors and paint everything to make sure my color codes are consistent. But I'm going to do this color because this is the interior color that I typically use. I just used the body color on the whole inside of that other van. Because, yeah, the middle of the years you said is pretty right, but UNU doesn't go into the 80s or 90s or anything like that. Because UNU gets nuclear holocausted in the early 70s. Because, yeah, it's this whole ideological campaign that happens because they want to reunite America in 1976 for its 200th anniversary. And so, yeah, Blackthorn got... And they were holding off the invasion, but as soon as they realized that they were screwed, cyanide pills, baby. And yeah, anyone that did survive, that didn't take the cyanide pills, got wasted with the reactor meltdowns. All right. Looks pretty good. And then we'll take care of the floor pan here. It's got its own unique color. And then the underside, basically the undercoating. This is too long. Oof. Well, that's just gonna have to stay like that. Not that big of a deal. Just a little extra bump, and then this weird little corner here. All this. All right, I think that's everything. And then, of course, I got to do all this bottom surface here. Yeah, so that gun in the mule trailer is a rail gun that's powered by a small nuclear reactor. And it's very much an experimental weapon. That kind of stuff, like the railgun stuff, is left over from when UNU was like an alternate future in like the early 2000s after nuclear war over water scarcity and all that. But yeah, UNU has shifted quite a bit since then. Yeah, no, Night Scale. You have been you are kind of an OG. You've been around for a long time. Yeah. I gotta I gotta keep those air cooled vehicles up to date. I really liked them. It's just like I said, I'm constantly stuck in updating everything, so I want to focus on the vehicles I'm really passionate about, which is why I, phased out the double deckers and everything. All right, so this is looking pretty good. I'm going to send a little screenshot to anybody who's not cool enough to be on stream. Uh, FSM Delivery progress. Boom. All right. When does this event? How long does this event go? Cool. So another 15 minutes. I don't know. I might extend it. I might extend it. We'll see. We'll see how I'm doing in 15 minutes. We're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close. So yeah, I got the frame poking out for the bumper attachments. Let's see what else we got. People think, yeah, aliens. Yeah, imagine being on vacation right as like the war starts happening, and it's like, oh man, I gotta get home to Blackthorn, and they all die, commit suicide. All right, let's see if I can drop this front axle here. This is going to be quite a significant axle drop. That's fine. That's fine. That'll work. All right, then of course got to shape it up a bit. Sometimes I hold my breath when I do stuff like this, and I don't know why. Yeah, the railgun's powered by a little nuclear battery, so yeah, it's probably radioactive. I don't really like how this front axle is sitting. It's a very dramatic dropped front axle. So yeah, the van has the radiator right here. So it's like my van that I have in real life, where it's all set back and it kind of has an air scoop underneath, which is kind of what I'm doing here. But if I scoot the engine forward and put the radiator more in the front so that it's kind of like enclosed in here, and so the engine's more forward, like almost a full block, and the radiator's like right in the front, then the rear axle will sit more in the back of the engine and it won't clip through the oil pan so hard. So I'm probably going to do that, even though it's slightly off from the actual vehicle. It's more practical design. Steve doesn't need that much footroom. Parts, make all parts visible. Make this invisible. Then make this invisible. Edit, select all visible parts, reverse selection. Make it visible again. And boom, I have everything selected. Go ahead and select the transmission too. And the drive shaft for good measure. So yeah, I'm just going to scooch this forward. It'll make it easier to make the doghouse anyway. And then yeah, the axle will be in the perfect spot. And the seats won't clip so hard. Yeah, even though this isn't exactly how the real vehicle is, I just think this will fit better. Alright, let's make the seats disappear for now, and I'll work on the doghouse. A mod that can display car parts from MTS, like an inch, like in the world, like a decorative block. Not yet, but Don Bruce has kind of teased the idea of being able to put parts on decors, and when that happens, I will be making engine stands and stuff. So yeah, not yet, it doesn't exist, but it will pretty soon, hopefully. It is something that people want. I'm actually also working on an UNU decor pack that's gonna have decorative versions of the vehicle. So you can just place the vehicle as a block to have it display in the world, and it won't be drivable. It'll just be like, for decoration. And if I do that, I'll probably make decorative versions of all the parts as well. So like a stack of wheels, an engine on a stand, that kind of thing. Yep, so there is some Z fighting on the floor. That's because the frame is touching the bottom of this part, and you can see through this part. So it won't Z fight once I actually texture it, which I'm going to do right now. Parts, auto texture, selected parts. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. No more Z fighting. Cool. Really coming along. It's a little low in the front, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's time for the doghouse. I'm gonna make this as low as I can, so that hopefully the seats don't clip through it too much. Yep, Z fighting is absolutely terrible. Anyone that lets Z fighting pass in their models, well, They should be punished to the full extent of the law. I do some jank to get rid of Z fighting. Like I was like the Unu Baron, the way the fins and the curves of that car all kind of line up. I make certain parts of the texture transparent and it prevents Z fighting. And so if you made the entire texture visible, like if it wasn't transparent, you would see Z fighting. The Baron's actually, I'm pretty proud of the Baron. It's a good one, especially the remodel. Yes, the doghouse is kind of slang for the engine cover. Sorry if anyone was hoping for an Unu doghouse decor item. Alright, how am I gonna do this? Now, if you're wondering why I'm doing this little separate piece, that is because I'm going to make this hood open, but I don't want these parts opening. Alright, and then I'll retract this. Very cool, very stylish. Yeah, maybe the doghouse is where the Unu Labrador lives. It's named after a dog. Make that sit a little more in there so it doesn't clip with this. Okay, and then I have to extend this a bit so there aren't these weird gaps. Why is that 0.25? And then bring these two back. And it's nice and flush. And we have our engine doghouse. Boom. No more Z fighting. Because, yeah, it only looks like it's Z fighting because you can see the back faces. But once I fill it in, you can't see the back faces anymore. Because it's just when the two parts are directly touching. Alright. And then I'll go ahead and make the top portion of this engine cover this interior color here. Now we do the sides as well. Make all this the interior color. And then I'll have to color in down here. Nope, too dark. Alright, and done. Looking good. Let's go ahead and extend these radiator mounts out. Then this is a little trick to make all these use the same texture coordinate. And boom, they're all the same color. Oh, there is a little touch of Z fighting way up in here, but literally nobody's going to be able to see it, so that doesn't matter. Oh, well, actually it might. What is that even Z fighting? Oh, it's this. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Make it a ramp. There we go. Now no more Z fighting. Look at that. Gonna have to retexture those now. Cool. So now I can focus on making the front. All parts, make all parts visible. I'll post this in general. Oh, it looks like the same picture. Alright, well I'm actually going to get close to wrapping this up. I'll see if I can crank out the roof real quick. And I'll probably continue this on Thursday because I do have plans on Wednesday. Let's see if I can finish up the roof. Alright, so for the roof... Well, actually, I'm not going to finish up the roof. I'm going to call this a day. We got 2 minutes left, so if anyone's got any burning questions, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, I thank you for joining in on this stream. I hope you found it a little entertaining to see kind of what goes on behind the scenes, how I take an UNU vehicle and make a new vehicle out of it, you know, using one vehicle as a base and all that. It's pretty neat. Why is this? Oh, okay, because it's like angled sideways a bit. There we go. I'll re-auto texture this. But yeah, that's about it. So thanks for. Oh, I'll probably make this van a little shorter. It looks way too long. But yeah, probably see you guys on Thursday. We'll see what my schedule looks like.